business agenda first. It's a quiet night. We have 10 items on the consent agenda, as then on boards and commissions, following up on the acre appointment roster as we discussed in work session, then taking action on the 2024 solid waste and recovery collection rate adjustments that we went over in work session recently. So that's all. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Nope.
Okay, that was a good quick check-in then. Okay, why don't we move then to board communication? Who would like to go first? You don't have your tablet or computer today.
I left my tablet there and I left all my notes from my board updates. So I'm kind of scrambling right now. So anyway.
Do you want me to cover you on CFTLC?
That would be fine. I'll introduce the fact that this Friday and then
Okay.
last Friday, and then
Yeah.
you can certainly weigh in on that.
Okay.
So yeah, this week is a pretty nice week. I get to go on a Romac field trip, so that means we get to go drive out in the country for a couple of hours and check out bridges and culverts and whatever else goes on out there. And so yeah, I really do enjoy that. That's kind of an eye-opening and a fun trip. I am going to Rotary Lunch again this year for their presentation. This is their year end because they're June 30. And so again, my wife kind of transitions off of things, and so it's an awards thing. So I'll be there on Thursday. Salmonberry Trail. We have Travel Oregon is coming out, and so we are doing a luncheon out in Buxton. So I'll be joining them about 1:30, and then we're going to walk a couple miles of the trail and show them some things off. So it's going to be pretty cool. That's coming along very nicely. Friday.
Are they set up for construction, or are they still working on the fundraising?
No, we've pulled rails, we've pulled ties. We're doing some other things as we can, but right now, yeah, it's about 750,000 miles. So we're trying to work on that 7-mile section to get us to the park, the state park up there. And so that'll be a few more years, but we're getting some really good momentum on that. So it's good.
Are they thinking of applying for Oregon State Parks grants?
We're applying for a number of grants. We've
great.
reached out to Metro. We are outside the Metro district, so that's a little bit of a problem, but we remind them they've done that a couple of times. We'll see how that works. Yeah, we're anything that's got money out there, we're applying for that. So
Good.
probably, if you remember, last week we had an executive board member meeting for the Council of Forest Trust Lands to present the 3 options and the 2 memos. Then that was unanimously endorsed for option 3. So then you all got the packet of the 2 memos and the options 3. That full board meeting will be in Salem Friday morning, so I'll be going down to join them then. And it would be good if I could say that I am speaking on behalf of the county commission, not just me, that we endorse option 3, but I would like to have some conversation about that. And Catherine and I have talked about this as well. So got some things you want to add to that, please feel free.
I will jump in at this point. If we could stop the timer for a second. I did read the multiple memos. I really appreciate the level of examination that's gone into this. In looking at historic run rates, what the Oregon Board of Forestry estimates are, how things fit, level of history in terms of how things are distributed across the counties. I totally agree with the recommendation on option 3 as it does the best job of keeping everyone whole. and ensures that we have a level of reasonable certainty moving forward as opposed to having to keep going back to the state legislature.
Mhm.
It does involve work. I get that, through the legislature,
Mhm.
but I think it's very sound and hope that the four of us can, uh, give direction to Jerry in representing that for Washington County.
If you've got any questions, lay 'em out.
Yeah, thanks. In looking at the body of work, yeah, I mean, obviously, unless you're at the table and you go through all of it, it's a little bit like criticizing something that you really didn't get too involved with, so I don't know all the discussion, but well thought out, pretty clear. Option 3, as I recall, takes schools out of the formula. What I don't know about the proposal, because I know a lot about the school funding formula, is timing and whether it would be timed in such a manner that it wouldn't impact, because some schools are significantly impacted by timber harvest, others are not at all. There's the assumption, which is an accurate assumption, that under Oregon state law, if you have other revenues, for instance, in part of your area, I
Mhm.
think it's Vernonia had some mist fields, gas and oil, gas fields. They get revenue, so they get to offset, they have some offset against state basic, but I don't know what it really means to each individual school district. I think there's an assumption that somehow they're going to be whole. And if that's the case, it's a good scenario. But if it's a timing problem where all of a sudden this would flip on a time when they had revenue loss, or if it hurts them without us not knowing that implication, I'm not keen on it. I'm keen on the work you did. I'm keen on where you came and why you did, but I don't know the implications. Does that make sense? What I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. We have had a lot of discussion about that. There are 3 schools that rely 100% on timber revenues. One's in Clatsop, two's in Tillamook.
That's probably one of them. Or maybe
Jewel is
Jewel.
one, and I can't remember the other 2 in Tillamook, but Jewel has been kind of our key one that we said, what if? And so, yeah, that's the part we're working through to make sure that, well, first thing is when the timber supported schools go into the state school fund, they don't get the same level of funding because the counties have been funding them at a higher level. Jewel, for example, they have their community center there. There's a couple of things else that basically supports the little community around Jewel School. So Clatsop County gives them more money. So we're working on kind of 2 things. One, sending them back to the state school fund. And then the other thing that, as we all know, is that if they get additional monies from someplace else, the state reduces their state school fund. And so we're working on fixing that in particular situations of timber supported schools. So we're still working on that. That's the legislative process that we're going to go through. There's actually 2 parts of it. I've got Courtney researching a couple of ORS to make sure that, full eyes wide open, full disclosure here, that we know exactly what we're walking into. But we think this is the best option that we've come up with. As the memo stated, there was 16 variations that we went through. We've been working on this for 9 months. So this is kind of what we've come down to. So this is going to be delivered to the full board. Remember, there's 15 trust land counties in this. The small table had 5 of us that represented all 15. So now we have to roll it out to them, and that's what we did with these 2 memos.
Please understand, I don't take any exception to the work. I think it's great work. There's a little difference in fiscal calculation periods between the Oregon Department of Education and their year end, which they do a lot of work in January, February to calculate, and then, the year ends are July 1 through June 30th. So if there's no harm, I think it's a great proposal. I just didn't want any unintended consequences where somebody says, ouch, what did you just do to me?
Well, I don't think in our particular case, Hillsborough School District, Vernonia, Banks, I think it is. There's 5 or 6 of them. We're pretty sure they're gonna go back into the state school fund and dollar for dollar, but we're gonna make sure that we research that. The schools that have
That'd be great.
100% reliance on timber, we're also working on a provision that says Clatsop and Tillamook counties can backfill them without detriment from the state school fund.
I'm in agreement with all that, yeah.
So we're trying to make sure, 'cause we know that it, on the face of it, doesn't look good. It looks like counties are kicking the schools out and
They're
saying,
taking the money.
go to the state and may the force be with you. So that's not the case. We are definitely going to be running our numbers on all of those things. But right now, we're just trying to run this by the counties and kind of get a test of the water, because we've got to start working with the governor's office on what's this look like in legislature. And then in addition to that, they're also working on the state school fund formula. And so I've asked Erin Doyle, hiding from me right now, if she would, if the GR team would kind of keep their ear to the ground on what the conversation is in Salem before we get into.
I'm happy to support. I'm just hoping that you will, again, pursue every avenue to try to make them whole. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ray.
I'm thumbs up from my
Okay.
end. I had to read through all that document that you shared, and I have a profound respect for all the heavy lifting you've been doing on that committee. Thank you.
Yep.
And I think of all the three options, this was the most explained in the memo. So I think you're on the right track. Hopefully it'll work
Okay.
out for
Yeah.
schools.
Well, it's been very educational for me. Remember when I took on the timber group, I knew how to spell timber. Knew what it meant to cut down a tree, but it's been lots. It's been very educational. So I appreciate that. I will speak on behalf, because I am on the small table. I'm invited to the table, but I'm not a member of the Council of Forest Lands at this time.
Thank you.
When this is all said and done, if there's still time left in my term, they will replace Margaret with me. But for right now, I'm sitting on the small table.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed it. It has been a lot.
it's not the most fun topic. You have to read
Actually,
about them or memo.
Man, oh man, there's a lot of history to this, and you cross over somebody pretty quickly, especially our southern counties. So it'll be an interesting conversation. I think Catherine's going to weigh in. I'm going to be physically there, but if you like to weigh in, it's on Zoom, Friday morning, 8 o'clock.
Jerry and I talked about it. He's going to be there and I'm just going to be a attendee as a county participant so that they know we're fully behind it.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that. So appreciate it.
Some counties may have almost their full boards there.
Yeah, getting at Douglas and Korean.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We don't know how many people are going to be actually showing up. So, I represent Columbia County and Clackamas County as well, and both of them are very, very small harvest people. Clackamas County is all federal land, so it's totally a different ball game. And Columbia just doesn't have a lot. So both of them have said to me, whatever you decide, we'll follow that. So I think I will confirm that before Friday, but certainly I think I'll be able to go down there and at least vote for the 3 counties on that.
So looking ahead, we'll probably have to do some relational work with Washington County, all the Washington County school districts before the ledge session.
Yeah. And the reason why that I didn't follow up on we're just focused on the trust land schools. But when we kick them all to the state school fund, there's going to be a shortfall that the state's going to have to fill, or all the schools in the state of Oregon will take a haircut because of this. So it's not an easy conversation.
There were cuts coming no matter what because of the HCP.
Yeah.
And there are good reasons why they're HCP, but changes change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can start the clock again, Kevin. Thank you very much. Say to the county, you did a great job the other night.
Oh, thank you.
Good for all of us to be there, and
Thank you.
had a good turnout, and it was very enjoyable. Everybody had fun, and I appreciate both of you going to go to the civic leaders graduation on Friday night from Adelante. I will be there as well.
Oh, great.
And then on Acre, we have Acre on Monday, next Monday night. Today, we are appointing a couple of people to Acre. Pam wanted me to just encourage you, of course, to endorse those appointments. Yeah, we have a good meeting scheduled for next Monday. So I think that's all I got.
Roy, you're assigning. Who goes next today? I'll go. Um, I am still taking vacation, but I have some commitments, things that are on my calendar. So last week I did have the opportunity to attend JPAC, and I'll give a report out. But I also attended the West Side Transportation Alliance and State of the County. Chair Harrington, you did a great job. It was a great turnout. I think at one point when I look back, it was full room, but so great job, and all the staff that put in all their work too. Um, and I also attended, there's a happy hour that was put together for Earl Blumenauer
Mhm.
as the transportation leader of this county. You went to high school together, or sort of? Okay. There's a deep connection
I
with
finished.
Roy Rogers.
He did.
He didn't finish high school, huh? Yeah. Earl.
How did you go to that? Because it was the same night as State of the County.
Yeah, I went there before and then I came here.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know about doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really a great turnout too on that one. I feel like both events. He was really happy, and a lot of the transportation folks were in the room. And on behalf of Washington County, I said thank you for all your work and happy retirement. And he's counting down the days. So, and in terms of JPAC, JPAC members unanimously approved two resolutions on Thursday. One was to direct the allocation of 13.6 million of federal redistribution funds to inflation impacted RUFA projects, which is about 10 million. And then the other program about the leftover of the 3.6 million. And then two program direction for the 2028 to 2030 RUFA cycle. So that was unanimously approved. There was a lot of discussion about the RUFA program direction. Members brought up points around wanting to maximize the bond funding to provide as much investment opportunity as possible and wanting to increase flexibility of project categories. It was really a good discussion, and the chair made sure everyone had an opportunity to chime in and weigh in on this. Members expressed desire to focus on geographic parity and how funds are allocated to ensure they are spread throughout the region. So not necessarily one region getting more funding than the other, as has been the last RUFA cycle. And Metro committed to work with jurisdictional staff over the next few months to identify candidate projects. And we've had a lot of mention of Washington County specific projects throughout the members. So TV Highway was mentioned a lot, specifically TV Highway, the BRT project, and then Southwest 185th Avenue Max Crossing was mentioned. The other presentation that we got is no surprise about the 2025 legislative transportation package. ODOT came and TriMet co-presented an overview of the House Bill 2017, in particularly the statewide transportation improvement fund funding. This was really a good presentation, and the staff put together really good notes that I will share because it has a really good information about the House Bill 2017 and the designation that Washington County got. So I'll share with you all. And then this week, I'm also attending that commitment.
Friday night.
Friday night, and so I'll see you, and then it's full on vacation time. I think next week.
Right.
Have a good one.
Well,
I think
Yeah.
everybody said it, but not, well, not to everyone. You did a good job, Mom.
Oh, thank you.
It was done well. It was well organized. It was
Mhm.
probably one,
Staff gave us great material to
Yeah.
celebrate.
well, I have to tell you, you fooled me a bit, both you and Philip. I was looking, leaned over to Nafisa and I said, I don't even see them reading anything. They're really good at what they're doing. And then she said, look behind you. There was a huge teleprompter. I didn't see that.
Yeah, but she lost it midway, didn't you? And that's when you pulled out your notes. So that was pretty seamless
went
in there.
Zoom.
Fast.
Poor Megan McKibben, it actually froze.
Oh.
So, from a staff lens, that was a bit of panic, and yes, then it went the Zoom, but
So I brought out
good
my
recovery.
Notes.
Yeah,
hard
that's good.
copy and I tabbed it by subject and I was like, oh yeah, I think I was here.
Nice pivoting. I did
Yeah.
not notice that.
Yeah,
I
you,
didn't notice that at all.
yeah.
And then I decided to take a drink of water.
Yeah, I saw the drinking water. I didn't-
And the muffled screams from the back of the.
Yeah, then.
We didn't hear any of that.
She did great.
You did good, yeah.
Well,
Anyway, great job.
well, thank you. Now you know the inside scoop.
Now I know the inside. Sorry I didn't make it to Earl saying I didn't think about going forward because it looked like it was too tight for me to get there and to here. Yeah, okay. I've known him
like
a
the-
long time.
Beating of the rush hour time, like if you
We didn't
start
go to
driving
high school.
5:50.
We went to high school at the same time.
Oh, okay.
He was over in the David Douglas and I was at Madison High School in Portland. So,
He's very fond of you.
well, that's kind of it.
They worked
He's
together
good-
for a
he-
long time.
he's
You
getting
knew him when
set.
he was a county commissioner or a city, no, a
No, he was kind of,
city commissioner.
and a county,
And a state rep.
and a state rep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did all.
We go way back.
Yep.
Thank you to JPAC for sending that out. That legislative piece, I think, was drafted well. Sometimes they get too myopic and I think that Portland is the only spot in the world. And if you're doing a statewide package, you need to be thoughtful about
Mhm.
other parts of the state who have different needs. So I thought it was crafted in a good way. So I would share that with you.
I'll pass it along.
Yeah,
Metro
good.
did.
Yeah, they did nice. And then,
But they listened to us because you saw the first bullet is the protecting the 50, 30, 20. So they listened to Washington County to start with that. Because that's our priority.
Everybody, I think, is preaching that message.
yeah, that's pretty standard. Yesterday,
But no, we started. It's not pretty standard. We started.
maybe
Not gonna give R1 any credit for that, huh?
my schedule didn't get out published, but I'll just tell you, yesterday I went to the Washington County Transportation Council. Jerry's on that as well. And Susan McLean was there and another person I've known forever. Susan did a really nice job. I'm not particularly surprised. She always very well poised and she that's we're going to mesh together. She talked mainly about the road show that she's doing around this. Talked about some of the other counties, some of the participation. I think it was Tillamook. We had a couple hundred people on it. It was really, she said she was surprised. But anyway, she talked a bit about that.
They're coming to Hillsborough.
Yes, yeah, they are. Yeah, she mentioned that. But she did a really nice job. I have a couple of things this week. But I just got the notes, so I can't tell you a whole lot about them. Stephen, I thank you for sending them out. But I have the Washington County Transit Advisory Committee this Thursday morning, and it's. I think we're going to get. I didn't have time to read them because I just came, but I think we're going to get about another $1 million, which is really nice. Pretty peanutsy compared to what happens throughout the region, but it's a good program.
The revenue from that is from the employee contribution or a portion of it, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Helps advance
That's it for sure.
access.
And then on Friday, the other group, transit, which is that's 2017, there was lots happened in 2017. That particular meeting is on Friday morning, and I just got from Tom Mills that agenda. So same thing. I haven't really had a chance to look at it. But he's usually covering a lot of material. And the chair and I meet with the CWS CEO, trying to do a first draft on review notes because our review of Diana's coming up, and so that's this week.
Okay, two additional things there. Stephen, I was in Vancouver this weekend twice for my grandson's baseball
BC
tournament.
or Washington?
Hmm?
BC or Washington?
Washington,
Oh,
thankfully.
okay.
I'm gonna go to BC
Well,
twice.
you know, those grandkids in baseball tournaments. they
That's
go all
true.
over.
And so I saw a sign that I-5 southbound is going to be closed for a period of time.
Oh,
So if you
yeah,
could
Friday night.
refresh
through
our memory.
Sunday.
219 is closed for 3 days.
Just tomorrow.
Just tomorrow? Oh,
Closed yesterday.
oh, okay. All right. So, so that's past history. So it's a good thing I didn't go to Sherwood today. I won't.
Go back.
But yeah, just a little refresh on that. And then the other thing I forgot to tell you was, last night, Jason and I were at the, election integrity meeting. That's, Bob Terry and a bunch of, there's like 30 or 40 of them in that committee. And this Dr. Frank, they brought in from someplace in the Midwest, but he's been all over the country. He's made 600 presentations in the last couple of years or something.
Wow.
Had a lot of information, very entertaining. Started at 6:30. Jason and I walked out with a couple minutes to go at 9 o'clock. So it was a lot of information in there. And I took a lot of notes, but I'll be going over them with Tanya and just to see what we think if there's going to be a response, because obviously they're focused on Washington County elections. So. Oh, you're sorry, Frank. I can tell you want to say something, but you're
Nope,
not.
nope, not, I'm fully behind our Washington County elections team and being an exemplary model of elections requirements here in the state of Oregon. Here, fully behind the team. And they have the logistics figured out for supporting the city of Portland's first ever ranked choice voting. As we know, there's a little bit of the city of Portland
gonna
in
be
Washington
interesting.
County. So, yep.
Yeah, the hits just keep coming for our election division, that's for sure. So they're there. And Tanya and I met with them a month ago, and they gave us a great recap. So I would agree with you. We have election integrity.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Thanks for covering the CFTL information. Last Tuesday night, Danny Ledesma and I attended the Washington County Committee for Community Involvement and briefed them on the board sketch list of major projects for the next couple of years that includes the development of a new updated RNO with regard to not all of the community engagement that the 1986 one does, but rather focusing in on the CCI CPO program. They were a tough audience, but in the end, I think they grasped that we're planning to bring the information to the board, cycle through with them and to our public before we adopt such a thing. So that's good. Last Thursday, after the state of the county, I wasn't able to make it over to the CPO 8 meeting. But I understand that they took positions on a position on a non-noticed item. And they have been utilizing the opportunity to take positions on items that are not before the Board of County Commissioners. So there is some redoubling of work going on there. So I fully support staff and am willing to stand in front and help clarify the situation as needed. So it's exciting times. And then last evening, early in the evening, there was a neighborhood meeting with regard to the community around Alpenrose because of the development proposal that's in for that site with, I know, over a couple hundred new homes. And as one might expect with any large area like that, transforming and becoming a large neighborhood, there are concerns with regard to traffic impacts. The zero.
Zero.
Uh-huh.
I didn't pull that up.
Nope, nope. But it's right on the edge.
Yeah.
Right? And connects, you
Sure.
know, part
Right,
of
it's
it
neighborhoods.
borders unincorporated, part of it borders City of
Traffic pattern.
Beaverton. Oh, yeah, and the complex intersection at Five Corners and land use development. So the title of the meeting as co-hosted by Metro District Councilor Huang took a punch at the Five Corners intersection, which is all in Washington County, which really wasn't the most professional of ways, but boy, did it get people to
Didn't we
show
put
up.
Jersey barriers on this side of it?
I'm thinking they could be making a contribution to us fixing Five Corners. A couple $100 million to do it.
Might be a little low.
I don't know what the traffic counts are as compared to what Multnomah County learned about the crossing of the, which bridge was that? It's not the Ross Island. What's the next?
Selwood?
Yes, Selwood Bridge. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, we're not going there.
Mhm.
But anyway, it was a really good turnout. And folks had the opportunity to provide input and whatnot. And I have some questions I'll follow up with Diane and company with regard to stormwater management, because there's quite a slope there. Exactly.
Into Washington County, I think.
Just like Metzger area.
Yep.
Garden Home area.
Shadow Creek. Yep, and so people have some concerns, not just about traffic, but the water flow. It's double flows. Yep, I'll follow up. So anyway, next week I have penciled myself out for the whole week, but I don't have any specific plans for the first few days, except for cleaning my desk off. So staff, don't be surprised if I'm in here on Monday and Tuesday. It's not a bad thing at all. Nothing extraordinary is going on that you need to wonder about, other than it's about time she files her file piles. So I've
Be
been,
surprised what you find in there.
I know, I've managed to recycle a bunch of things. It's great. So, yeah, terrific. So, yep, then we'll be into July, and I'm not ready to admit that the month of July is at our doorstep. So, summer's gonna do by wicked fast. Anyway, I'm going too long. Over to you, Ms. Angie, for leadership communication.
I'll start out with passing a copy of our new multilingual directory. I almost said dictionary. Directory for this building. This is in addition to the multilingual welcome signage that I mentioned last week that's been installed within this building. Staff has created a new resource for community members visiting the Public Services Building. This colorful directory will be available at the 3 primary entrances, exits of the PSB to point people to specific offices and services. As with all of our signs, the directory has been translated into each of the county's 11 safe harbor languages. The designs allow a member of the community to quickly flip to the page listing services and locations in their preferred language. The design also allows us to update pages over time should an office or program relocate. Finally, we've included a statement in each language pointing out that translation and interpretation services can be provided upon request, free of charge, and how to report any complaint of discriminatory treatment. I want to acknowledge our One Washington County team, including facilities, Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Engagement, mail and print, communications, for their collaborative approach to this project. I want to note, last week I had to step out to use the restroom for, during the executive session, and I met a community member who was Spanish speaking and could not find the location that she needed to go to. I'm not bilingual, however, I could help her, and that experience just helped illustrate to be able to have that tool accessible for community. So we are excited about this. This is the first building that we have this tool in, and we'll be working to increase access for all of our community members. At tonight's meeting, we will have a visit from civic leaders. And this is also an extension of us wanting to be a welcoming place for people to visit and engage with their county government. The group that will be attending this evening is not Adelante Mujeres. As you may call, our partners of a cohort of civic leaders last month, they addressed your board during oral communication. This time, our partners with Unite Oregon will guide about 20 civic leaders as they attend your board meeting for the first time ever. Chair Harrington, I know you provided a special welcome for them before the board meeting, but Unite will be prepping them a bit more, but feel free to also provide a warm welcome for our community members, as this will be for many a first time joining the meeting. In also exciting news, Explore Tualatin Valley, or WCVA, because my mind has not shifted to the name. It hasn't shifted. The acronym doesn't even roll off quite yet. Informed us that they're making a strategic investment of $1 million to be used as matching funds for the Scoggins Valley Park project. The 1 million strategic investment will come in 2 installments of $410,000 in July of this year and $590,000 in July of 2025. As a reminder, we're currently working on a feasibility study for Scoggins, and we'll be coming back to your board this fall. That feasibility study will lay out the overall project costs and what we will need, but just want to express appreciation for Dave Prullo and the partnership and helping really support shepherding that through the process, and of course the executive board. A portion of tomorrow and Thursday, I will actually be in Hood River at the Oregon City County Management Association conference. I will actually be speaking with the ICMA West Coast Regional Director on empowering city county managers with the tools to build stronger and more trusting relationships with governing bodies. I think that's a great sign that I've been asked to speak on this, because I think that's also a reflection of you as the governing body here at Washington County. During these, since I am out of town, Marnie Kyle will be serving as acting on Wednesday and Thursday. And then next week, as I shared last week, I will be on vacation in Minnesota, spending time with family, getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and spending time on the pontoon in the middle of the lake.
There's
Minnesota.
a song about that.
Lots of long O's. We will have hot dish, no.
Watch out for ticks. Do they have ticks there too?
Oh, yes.
And flash flooding.
Yeah, the last community I served in, Minnesota, their dam is close to
Yeah.
failure.
Heard that on
Yeah.
the national
Yes.
news.
Mankato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, that's where Tanya lives.
Yeah.
No wonder she left.
Yeah.
Everybody's got like you, right?
Who owns that dam or operates it?
The county does,
Oh, ooh,
and it's been close. Yeah.
was
Happened-
before.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Courtney.
Good afternoon, Chair Harrington, Board of Commissioners. My comments tied to the comments Chair Harrington made during her update. And I wanted to thank each of you and Commissioner Treese for meeting with us over the course, me and staff over the course of the last 2 weeks, to get your feedback and your thoughts on the CPO and CCI RNO update. We're really excited by what we heard and excited to take that work forward and come to you with some proposals and options and recommendations for moving that work forward, consistent with your long-term sketch program work that you have laid out a couple weeks ago. And on cue as if we had wrote it. As you mentioned, the CPO issue did arise, which I communicated to you all in email, which really illustrates the really critical timing of this work. Because as I explained in that email, while the CPO did take official action to join an amicus or friend of the court brief, that's not something that, is clearly spelled out in the current authority for the program. And we don't really have the supporting structure to know whether or not that's the type of, comments and positions we want CPOs and CCIs engaging in as part of their important work. So thank you for your feedback, and we'll continue to move this forward. And please come to us if you have any questions.
Can I
Yes.
just to add on to that? So part of just that feedback loop, did any of your board members have concern with that email or approach that Courtney had outlined?
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We just wanted to touch base on that because Amanda Garcia Snell will be following up with the CPOs. We will also, just to make sure this is a matter of the record, come back to your board and establish through an interim RNO, just laying out not only clarifying what occurred with this amicus brief, there's significant clarification that needs to occur relative to public meetings. Chair, you had mentioned not properly noticing items. This is an increasing concern for staff on our engagement team after they repeatedly coach our community members. And so to have that, some of those interim steps in an RNO is really going to be helpful for staff moving forward.
I would think it's the first of my tenure here. We've had this many, many times. No matter what we do, some people stray. They do. And so it's hard to enforce. It really is. You've been clear. Everybody's been clear over the years. That's not the place to take your grievances or your personal beliefs, but they need to do it. I just take my.
Yeah, and I think I want to make sure that it's noted that Amanda did a great job of managing that meeting, even though she took some shots. So kudos to Amanda for taking the high road on this.
As well as Amanda supporting other staff who were there. So she does deserve a lot of kudos.
Great.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is that we are in the last week of the current Supreme Court term, still waiting on a number of decisions, and including one that could have impacts here in Washington County, and that's the Grants Pass case, which is the Ninth Circuit decision that held that regulating unhoused camping on public property must be reasonable as to time, place, and manner, or it's violates the Ninth Circuit or the Eighth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution against cruel and unusual punishment. While we don't believe the decision will probably overturn the statutory basis we have here in Oregon, we just don't know. So we will definitely be watching for that decision this week and analyzing it and letting you know how it does or does not impact us. And I wanted to mention that in a few weeks, I was invited to talk about the good work that Washington County did in collaboration with our city partners and other special districts in adopting our ordinance, and spoke with Ms. Kyle and got permission to go ahead and talk about and share our good work. So I'll be doing that in a few weeks. And that's all for me.
Other than the city of Portland has, with, I think it was ACLU, challenged their camping ordinance, were any other jurisdictions challenged?
Not that I'm aware of, but it doesn't mean there aren't some out there.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, other than the city of Portland's had a couple of challenges on a couple different bases. And so still winding their way through.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Taniguchi Dennis, if we could also share that book with her, that'd be awesome.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, and good afternoon, Board of Clean Water Services. So we received some really great news. Clean Water Services will be honored with the Utility of the Future Today recognition at WEFTEC for our watershed stewardship programs. Clean Water Services is a leader in really linking nature-based solutions to improve water quality and regulatory compliance.
Some international award.
Yeah, with the Natural Systems and Enhancement Services Programs and the NSES team. So it's really kudos to that team, and I wanted the board to know about this honor that we'll be receiving. This Friday, the team will be meeting with the Bureau of Reclamation to discuss the potential revisions to their 2020 benefits and repayment analysis. And we'll update the board on what we learned and find. The original analysis assigned Clean Water Services and water quality nearly half of the local share, which was a surprise to us. So we'll learn more and we'll update the board. And at the State of the County presentation, we want to thank you, Chair Harrington, for really the uplifting comments that you made about Clean Water Services and our dedicated employees. It was also really inspiring to hear about the great depth and breadth of the work that the county is doing to serve our region and communities. So thank you.
It's all because of the efforts of staff from the two agencies. You know, it's easy to cheer good work. Wonderful. Well, I think that's it for the open session of this meeting. I did have one thing that I wanted to make sure from the constituent report. Commissioner Treese and I were the participants in Reimagine Oregon, and the invitation for that, by invitation, invite only dinner is for the participants of that project. So just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that. So, all righty, we'll see everyone at 6:30.
We have